Okay, well, I see that it is 5 o'clock, you guys, and I know we have a lot of awesome information that we want to cover today. So thank you for attending our culinary medicine class. Before we get started, just want to cover a few housekeeping guidelines. We do have a fairly big class today, so we will ask that you stay muted to minimize any background noise and that we can focus on our amazing chef. So we'll also keep our videos off for the most part and just have the video on Chef Alyssa and her cooking. If you do have any questions as we go along, please submit them into the chat box. If the chat function isn't working, you can also raise your hand. There's an emoji there that has reactions, and you can click on the hand. It will raise your hand and let me know that you've got something you want to say. And then you can just click it a second time to lower it. So just as a brief introduction, let's take a moment to just introduce ourselves. So first we do have our amazing Chef Alyssa. You can see her video
Hi.
up there in the corner. Don't worry, we'll make her bigger in just a little bit. So she's been a personal chef for over 25 years. She combines good flavor with good nutrition, and we're really excited to have her here with us. We normally have Allison with us, one of our wellness coaches on the Big Island. She's actually on vacation this week, but we do have John here with us. You want to say hi, John?
Sure. Hey everyone. Thanks for attending today's class.
He'll be helping to kind of monitor the chat and everything. And then we have myself, and I will also come on and say hi. Hi, everybody. I'm the Heather Charles. I'm the wellness coach on the island of Maui, and I will be here kind of also hosting us through today. So we're excited to have you here. We hope that during our time together today, we spark your interest and your curiosity to learn a little bit more about whole food plant-based eating, while hopefully also increasing your confidence in preparing plant-based meals. Now, if you're new to this program, you might be asking yourself, well, really, what's so special about this whole food plant-based diet that it gets a whole class dedicated to it? Well, it's special because it's the only diet shown to reverse coronary artery disease, one of the leading causes of heart disease, which is responsible for 1 in every 4 deaths over the age of 35. So I think that's a pretty big deal, and something we can actively do to take care of ourselves is to just adjust our dietary intake. Now, I know changing our eating style may seem a little bit daunting. This style of eating can best be summed up, I think, by the words you see on the screen here. And these were written by Michael Pollan. He's an American author and a journalist who's written several books about food and health. And he just coined this simple phrase here, which is eat food, not too much, and mostly plants. And that's really what this class is all about. It's bringing together plant-based nutrition and culinary skills to help you be empowered in taking care of your health. Now, most of us know that vegetables are good for us, and yet maybe not so many of us are eating them as often as we should. And I think a major barrier to that has been that a lot of these foods not really been seen as quote unquote delicious, right? They're often portrayed as kind of a chore to eat. We hope to shift that mindset and open you up to a new way of experiencing healthy food. Now, we acknowledge there may be a range of people attending tonight. Some of you might be wondering, hey, just how do I get a few more vegetables into my diet? And others of you might be wanting to really commit and be fully plant-based. So there's really this wide spectrum, and this class is all about supporting folks with some resources to move in the direction that they choose. So just know that many of these recipes, they may have some oil or nuts, or you might see an occasional egg as an option. We will give the chef the opportunity to maybe share any substitutes for those things for those of you that are really going strictly plant-based. And of course, feel free to put your chat questions into the chat as well. But ultimately, we're just happy you're all here. Just watch, just enjoy learning. We're here to support you. Before we jump into the recipes, I do want to share a short video clip from a series that Stanford put together in 2016, and that series is called Food and Health. And it's a series of about 17 videos that range in probably 3 to 5 minutes in length. And each video gives you really practical skills and information on why and how we can eat healthier. So I'm going to just play one of the videos from that series today, and I really encourage you to check the rest out on your own. This series can be viewed on YouTube, and we'll go ahead and put that link in the chat too. In fact, let me put, I don't know if you have it, John, but I've got it here. So let me just pop that over here before I switch gears on the screen. I think I put it up there. Okay. There. So there you should see the link in the chat. You might want to save that, favorite it, and then, like I said, continue to watch the rest of the videos in that series to continue learning more. So for now, I'm going to switch my screen here and pull up this video, and then I'll check back with everybody. See, can you see this, John? Hopefully.
Oh, yep, I can see it.
Yep. Okay, so let me go ahead and push play.
People who are concerned about our modern food environment find themselves in search of simple rules. This is why so many fad diets gain a following even when there's very little science behind them. People want easy to follow dietary advice, but the human diet is inherently complex. Having said that, there are simple ways of wording sound dietary advice. Here's one of the best examples. Michael, you use a simple framework for delivering a lot of your advice on how to approach one's relationship with food, and what comes to mind is your kind of mantra: eat food, not too much, mostly plants.
Well, coming up with those 7 words, which I'm afraid will be on my gravestone unless I come up with something better soon, is the result of a very long process of examining the science of nutrition. But as I got deeper and deeper and deeper, I realized, well, actually, the key issue is, are you eating real food, or what I like to call edible food-like substances, which is to say processed foods. And so the phrase eat food, I realized that's really what you need to know to eat well. Eat food, by which I mean real food. But then I realized that isn't quite enough, because we're also eating too many calories. So not too much became part of the mantra. And then lastly, I was like, well, within the range of foods, is there a class that's better than another class? And one of the things we know is that people who eat lots of plant foods tend to have much better health and better longevity than people who eat a heavy meat diet. So mostly plants. Not all plants. Mostly is, I'm trying to be very reasonable. And although it tends to offend both vegetarians and carnivores when you say mostly plants. So eat food, not too much, mostly plants, is basically, I think, all you need to know. Now, eat food is probably the hardest part of that to understand, because isn't all that stuff in the supermarket food? Well, I would argue it's not. And I would argue a lot of it are relatively new, highly processed, edible food-like substances that really are what gets most people into trouble around eating. They tend to have lots of refined sugars, lots of refined fats, and very little fiber, very little of the antioxidants you find in plants. And basically, they were designed for long shelf life, these processed foods. And the way you make a food last longer is you take out what is nutritionally valuable. I'm talking about omega-3 fatty acids, I'm talking about fiber, all these things don't store well. So we've gone down a path of eating a lot of things that shouldn't be dignified with that beautiful word, food.
Replacing the highly processed food in our diets with reasonable amounts of real food, including plenty of plant-based foods, is sound advice for people who want to protect their health. And Pauline's mantra, eat food, not too much, mostly plants. These 7 words can be a helpful guide for anyone who wants to keep it simple when it comes to choosing food.
Okay. Oops, give me a second to reset here, guys. Okay, hopefully that sound came through clear for you. But yeah, so I would encourage you again to just check out the rest of the series in that video through the link that's in the chat there. And before we move into the cooking, I just want to take another brief moment and touch on the handouts that were included in this class, specifically the healthy plate. Now, some of you may be familiar with right, that food pyramid. A lot of us grew up with it, but in more recent years, the diagram has really changed to this image of a plate, and that's based on current research and health data. Now, the healthy plate is divided into these 3 different quadrants, with half the plate being dedicated to vegetables, making them really the star of the plate. And then you'll also notice that meat, quote unquote, is no longer one of the food groups, and instead it says protein, and which means that it can include plant-based proteins like beans or lentils or tofu, and that's really the ingredients that we're going to be focusing on in these classes. So the main takeaway is really just to make your plate really colorful, really vibrant and alive. If you have a lot of color on your plate, you know you're moving in the right direction. So instead of counting the calories, we want to count the number of plants on the plate. Now, if you are wanting to learn more about the healthy plate in general, we do have a separate class at Kaiser Permanente for our Kaiser members that's called Get Your Plate in Shape. Our dietitians teach that, and they will go over a variety of different diet styles and what this healthy plate concept might look like in each of those different formats. So with that, I'm going to start to turn this over to Chef Alyssa, and we're going to pull up the 2 recipes that she's going to be preparing today, which are the vegetarian chili and the save the tuna salad, so that she can kind of briefly go over those ingredients with you before we take the presentation down. As a reminder, your invite to the class today also included links to download those recipes for yourself. So if you didn't already get a chance to do that, I hope you can go back and find that. Otherwise, when I pull it up, you can take a picture with your phone or whatever device you have, capture it that way. And if you have any questions, you know, or need the recipes again, we can pull it up at the end of class. So, Chef, I'm going to turn this over to you. Pull up our first recipe, which I believe is the vegetarian chili, and just kind of let you introduce people to what we got in this dish.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So the first thing we're going to be making is a vegetarian chili. And so with the chili, you start with some chopped onions, and then I add the garlic and the vegetables after that. So I'm going to saute the onions till it gets a little bit of translucent and looks cooked. Add in the vegetables. It can really be a mix of whatever you want, but I have a cup of each: bell peppers, celery, zucchini, and mushrooms. And then I have 3 cloves of garlic. I have chili powder, cumin, oregano. So all of those, you can, based on how you like it, you can do it either the full 2 tablespoons of chili powder, you know, if you want it really flavorful, 2 teaspoons of cumin and oregano. It just depends upon who I'm cooking for and on how I do that. I have 2 cups of beans. Today we're going to use pinto beans. Sometimes I mix it. Sometimes I use kidney and black. If I have leftover, if I do 2 cans, then I just pop it in the freezer in a Ziploc or one of those plastic takeout containers. And then I have crushed tomatoes that we're going to be putting in. You can do crushed fire roasted. You can use diced. You can use fresh tomatoes. And I actually had quite a bit of fresh tomatoes, so I did a combination of both. You know, it's making use of what you have in your fridge too, you know, so you don't have to go out and buy extra when you've already got it. Can of tomato sauce. And then if you want to, you know, make it a little bit more saucy, you can add a little bit of water, juice of lime, cilantro. And then what I do with this recipe is, ahead of the time, I will go ahead and cut up a cup of tofu, frozen, and then I pop it in the freezer. And I freeze it till it's hard. I defrost it, and then I squeeze it out. It changes texture. So we're going to be adding that in at the end, and then we'll finish off seasoning it with salt and pepper and to taste.
Fantastic. So two highlights I want to point out. So one, you said we can freeze leftover beans if we're not using them, which is fantastic. Yes. And then how long do those stay good in the freezer?
Oh gosh, I'm not sure, but I would say at least a month or two. No problem. Okay. I usually get to it by then. So
very good. And then the second one was the tofu. You're saying you don't press it first. You put it into the freezer, then you take it out, defrost it, then press it.
Yeah, I just actually use my hands and squeeze the liquid out of it and crumble it.
Okay. Yep. Okay, great. And I know somebody did ask, can we see the chef? Yes, we will see the chef as soon as we're done going through the recipes. When I take the recipes down, then she will be the star and we will see her. But let's go through one more, just the ingredients again on this chickpea save the tuna salad before I take this down.
Okay, so the chickpea save the tuna salad is chickpeas, also known as garbanzo beans that are rinsed and drained, celery, carrots, sweet onions, or just whatever onion you have, parsley, veganaise. I used vegetarian mayonnaise without eggs in it, pickle relish. It can be sweet or dill. I tend to be, I grew up on the sweet side, so I like sweet relish. That was the seasoning in our family. And then mustard. Again, it can be ballpark mustard or it can be Dijon, however you like your mustard, and then salt and pepper. So it's a nice, simple recipe.
Yeah, that one's a favorite for me for a quick lunch, meal prep for the week. Love it on a piece of whole grain toast. So that's a good one. Okay, well, let me stop presenting with this and we will hopefully have you be up on screen. There we go.
All right.
Okay, hopefully everybody can see her. And you guys, as she's cooking along, feel free again to type in any questions in the chat and I'll try to jump in and catch her and ask those questions as we see them.
All right, so what we've got is I've got my skillet set up, my little burner, and I'm going to go ahead and turn it on. It's an induction burner, so I'm going to get it warmed up and it doesn't take long. I'm going to add some olive oil. It could be olive oil, avocado oil, canola oil. With olive oil, I try not to go really high heat. So we'll let that warm up in the pan. And then I have some diced onions. So I'm going to add the onions in.
Didn't you have a trick for not getting teary-eyed when you cook an onion, when you cut an onion?
Oh, well, I have a trick for not making it really strong flavored. The teary-eyed.
Oh, that was it. That was it. Not strong flavored. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what I did with the chickpea salad, was I actually poured water over it and then rinsed it and squeezed it dry so it gets the bite out. Some people like the flavor of raw onion, but I tend not to. So I did it that way. Yeah, I'm trying to remember now. What's the trick on the onions that make you cry? There's a trick.
Maybe somebody else can chat it in if they have a tip.
Yeah.
I bet somebody knows. Yeah.
So I'm going to just let the onions do their thing. And then what I'm going to do is I combine the chili powder and the cumin and the oregano. And this is 1 teaspoon of each, as I said, up to 2. And then 1 tablespoon of chili powder. So I'm going a little light. This recipe makes quite a bit. So you can also half the recipe, you know, if it's just like 2 of you in the household, you can always think about that and just cut it back. It's real easy to cut in half.
Yeah, well, and
So
as Dr. Jun said also, right, we could also saute in water or vegetable broth for those people that wanted to be oil-free.
Yes, you can.
Hmm.
Thank you. Good point. So I have my mushrooms, I have bell pepper, I have celery and zucchini. Oh, sorry about that. You can hear that. And I try not to put the garlic in too soon so it doesn't burn. And I'm just mixing it so that the spices get all mixed in with the vegetables.
I feel like I can smell it from here, all those nice spices in there, the cumin.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so now I'm going to, this is going to simmer. It won't take long to cook. This is actually a nice, simple recipe. It's just basically your vegetables cooking, yeah, and then all the flavors melding together. So I've got garlic. And I chose like pinto beans. I know I said that. I've got pinto beans. So this is a can of rinsed and drained.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask. So we usually, so you rinse and you drain the beans versus just dumping the
canned
can in,
beans.
right? Yeah, okay.
Yes,
So if you're buying
yes, I
canned
do.
beans, then rinse and drain them first.
Rinse and drain. Okay. And then the recipe called for a can of tomato sauce, and I noticed that I didn't write what size. So it's a 15-ounce can, the big can of tomato sauce, not the big, okay. What is that, 15 point something, usually the,
Yeah, 5 or something
yeah.
like that, yeah.
Yeah, same size as your beans. Okay, and so you got your tomato sauce. And then this is the 2 cups of, I actually had some fire roasted diced, and then I had some fresh cherry tomatoes. So I thought, hey, great way to use that up.
Yeah, especially for those of you getting your gardens going, right? Usually people
Right.
plant tomatoes.
Mm-hmm. Zucchini. Okay. So this is where now I take the tofu. You can see how it's kind of crumbly and the texture changes. It gets a little more spongy. So then it absorbs all the flavor and gives it kind of a chewy texture. It's nice. It adds a little added dimension. And then you could add, let's see here, just a little bit of water if you want, just to give it a little bit more of a sauce. And then I happen to have, again, this is like, you know, what do you have in the fridge? I happen to have some olives, sliced olives from the other day. So I'm going to add it in my chili. That'd be perfect. I love olives in my chili. Some cilantro.
Yeah, I like how the recipe is pretty flexible, that you can kind of,
Yes.
you know, adapt it to your own person. I know a lot of people, right, in Hawaii like chili. So this is
Yes.
probably have their own favorite seasonings and things. You can kind of just adapt it.
Right, exactly. So it's just a very forgiving, easygoing recipe. Plug in what you like. I did add a little salt and pepper. Now that's not in the recipe, so I'll have to adjust that. That's my bad. And then I have just a little bit of cane sugar, depending upon who you cook for, whether or for your family. I just take away the tomato edge. All right, at this point, then I'm going to cover it. Then at the very end, I'll add some lime juice and more cilantro. And I'll let it simmer probably for about, for about 10 minutes, 10, 15, till the vegetables are cooked. And you can add hot sauce if you like hot sauce. I happen to have, in my fridge, I had half a jalapeno. So I don't think I'm going to add hot sauce to this because I added half the jalapeno in with the green bell pepper. And I actually had half a poblano. So again, this was kind of fun because I just thought, well, I've got these things and they would taste great in chili. So there you go. So it's just an example of what you can do in your house too, if you have these ingredients just sitting around.
Great.
So you can
Any
see
questions, you guys? We got a lot of protein in here. They got the fiber. We got the beans in there. 1 cup of beans has 14.5 grams of protein, 16 grams of fiber. Right, that's important because fiber helps us to feel full, helps keep our blood sugar stable, associated with positive mental states. Right, so we have all these benefits in our food here.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let that simmer for about 10 to 15 minutes. I'm going to put a cover on. And I'm going to reduce the heat a little bit. And then I'm going to actually cook this, finish it off on my stove in the kitchen right behind me so that I can do the next demo. And so if you just give me a minute, I'll just set the timer and I'll move this little puppy.
Transfer that over. Sounds good.
Yeah.
So yes, Vivian, she did drain and rinse the beans. So that was a key one. Any other questions, you guys, for Chef? So Judith is asking, what's the benefit in rinsing the beans? Well, sometimes there's a little bit of sodium in there. You can rinse that off. Any other benefit that you know, Chef, for culinary wise, the benefit to rinsing the beans?
Well, some cans have what, EDTA. I mean, sometimes they have a little bit of preservatives and the sauce is kind of thick. I mean, the juice in the beans. So sometimes it would change the texture of your recipe. So that's one reason I tend to. Some people like to save a little bit of the bean juice, but usually we drain it. Most recipes.
Another question was the tofu. What firmness level of the tofu is used for this recipe?
I would use anywhere from medium to extra firm. They're all fine. I just wouldn't do soft.
Right. Okay, so medium to extra firm tofu. And then Eric's asking, are canned mushrooms as nutritious as fresh? Would you use canned mushrooms?
I personally don't like canned mushrooms, but so that's probably why I wouldn't. I have no idea about the nutritional value. It's a very good question. I would have to look it up. I tend to just buy mushrooms. You know, they're not that expensive. I like to pick my own mushrooms. I like the texture of fresh ones. So that's just a personal preference. If you've got a bunch of canned mushrooms, they could be, I don't know, very good question.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So kind of try it. You could try either one, see what you think. Yeah, I would agree with Kim, who says they usually have salt or sodium, a little more processed. So if you want to go on natural, and like Chef was saying, they're usually in the produce section. They have a kind of a bulk bin for the mushrooms too, that you can just pick and choose the amount that you have, so you don't waste if you don't use a whole 8-ounce tub of it. Let's see, and Amy's saying, I'm scared of tofu. I don't like the texture. Any secrets?
Well, you might like this texture because it's, you know, it changes it, right? So it's, I don't want to say it's like a vegetarian ground beef, but it adds a little bit of chew. It's not soft like regular tofu is, which may be why you don't like the texture. I'm just guessing. The other thing is you can cook it and then, you know, you can saute it and then freeze it. And then that adds another dimension too. So you might want to try it. It might be a way that you actually like tofu. I don't know if that's helping you.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's helping you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe.
And if you're just like, nope, not going to eat it if it has tofu in it, then you could probably
Oh yeah,
omit it too, right?
yeah. Just
Or
a
maybe just
minute.
add some more
Of
beans
course,
or yeah,
of course. Yeah, just a minute. Hold
pretty
on. I think
pretty
I
flexible.
got tilted. Yeah, or this
Oh,
camera's
yep, you
tilted.
did. Yep.
Okay, is that better?
If you can pull it towards you, aim it up a little bit more. I mean, just aim it up, turn it up there. A little bit more towards the, or there. Yeah, if you just move that forward, that works too. Yep.
Put it in the line of vision. Okay. All
Yeah.
right.
Okay,
Okay.
good. Well, then I think we will be ready to cruise on while that's simmering to the chickpea salad.
Yes. And so with this recipe, and I'm getting all my stuff from the kitchen. With
Yep.
this recipe, you can, if you don't have a food processor, you can just mash it. I have like a potato masher. I don't know if you can see that. That's not very good, is it? I have anything dark. I can put
Oh,
it
we can see if
in
you even, oh yeah.
like that. Is that better? Not really. Okay.
Yep. Now we can see it.
So
I've also used
yeah,
a fork. Just a fork will work
yeah,
too.
big fork. Yeah,
you don't have
works.
that.
Yeah. So I have rinsed and drained my chickpeas. I actually saved my chickpea juice, not juice. I've saved my chickpea liquid from the can. I guess you wouldn't call it juice. And because I cook with it when I make desserts. I make like aquafaba, which is whipped chickpea. It's actually bean liquid, cooking liquid, and it can make like kind of like egg white consistency. So I was thinking maybe I would make those cannellini brownies with the egg whites. Yeah. So
cannellini brownies. That sounds delicious.
Yeah.
Also.
Haven't I sent you the blondie recipe? Anyways, you can save it. Usually I keep it in the back of the fridge in a jar for about a week. If I want to maybe use something in baking. So I'm going to just process this. Okay. Nice and simple.
Yep. And do you find too, I noticed that different brands of chickpeas kind of have different texture.
Yes.
Some of them are soft if you're going to, pulse them like that. And other ones, if you're roasting chickpeas or something, then there's firmer ones. So you just kind of learn the brands a little bit.
I know it is interesting. And this one is, this one's Whole Foods. So, yeah.
They're what, the 365
yes,
brand?
the 365 brand. So this one is, I know there's some from Safeway and Times. I'm trying to remember which brands tend to have more of the skin. But this one's a nice one. And some of them are smaller and harder. It's interesting, yeah?
Yeah, so if you run into a little bit of a roadblock, it might be as simple as just trying a different brand of chickpeas. Yeah.
Thank you for bringing that up. Some people like to make this recipe really kind of coarse, where you see the chickpeas. Some people like to process it or mash it quite a bit, so you can't really see any definition. So it's kind of, again, personal. I think all recipes are templates for you to put in your own personal twist. How do you like it? Okay, so there we go. And here's the onions that I talked about. So I processed them. Let me see if I go in front, right? Like that.
Yep.
If
we can see it.
I chopped them, I rinsed them in some water, and then I squeezed them dry so that would take out some of the bite.
And that's a regular white onion?
This is a regular white onion. Sweet onions, red onions, Maui onions are all good. I just happen to have the onion from making the chili. I know the red onions are also wonderful to have, and they've got a little more nutritional value. We've got the white. We've got celery that I chopped up. We've got grated carrots. And then we have some mustard, and I have ballpark. I'm kind of a ballpark person.
I would use the Dijon. Yeah.
Yeah, I think most people do. It's funny how we show our upbringing.
Right.
Yeah. My goodness. Okay, so the to show you, sometimes relish can be juicy. So my relish, even though I took it out with a fork, it's still just sitting. Look at that. It's got all that juice still. I don't know if you can see. So I'm just going to one more time. Otherwise, it can make this salad kind of wet. Because that's a good tablespoon there. Going to add that. Some relish. And some chopped parsley. And some salt and pepper. So pretty simple stuff that, this is stuff I tend to have in my house on a regular basis. I'm not quite sure about the rest of the world, but mayo, mustard, relish.
Did you add
Always
the
good to
mayo
have.
already? I know somebody was
I
asking,
did.
what is the white substance? I'm guessing that, Alice, that
It
was the
was-
mayo.
Yes, I'm sorry. Did I not? I apologize. So what I have is, I use follow your heart, follow your heart. And they have now avocado oil veganese. So I am using veganese made with avocado oil today. I got it at Safeway. Yeah, I like this one. And I apologize.
Yeah, I like how a lot of these foods are making their way into the Safeways, the Foodlands, the Times, right? You don't have to go to a specialty store anymore to get some.
Right. Okay. So like Heather was saying, you like to put it on a piece of toast.
Mm-hmm. I get that
I like
Ezekiel bread because it's a little bit heartier.
Mm-hmm.
Toast it up, and then actually I had that for lunch today. Now I'm confessing I did.
Oh, okay. Well, I know what
Yeah.
I'm having for dinner. So this is
Yeah.
I have. You can put it on. Eat it. These are those really tender kale leaves, the Russian red leaf. So you can make a plate with it, with some cucumber and carrot sticks, and eat it like that.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. And the flavors meld. They're very nice, the next day. Yeah, it's definitely fun to have this in the fridge to snack on.
Yeah.
It makes a great, like a sandwich filler, and then just even with veggie dips, dippers, chips. It goes a long way. It's very versatile. I used to put it in pita pocket sandwiches and take it out to the beach, and do it that way.
Yeah, I could put some greens in there, put that in there. I like a little bit of the dill or a little lemon or something can be good in there.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
Lighten it up. Any questions, you guys? Questions? Can you see yourself making this? I like this one because it's simple. It's pretty quick. It's not a lot. You don't have to cook it, right? You just stir it all in the bowl and you're ready to go. You got lunch for a couple days.
So simple. I know. I hear you. I really like that. So I'm going to bring back my chili because I can smell it.
Good.
Ow, ow, ow. Okay. Like I said, this makes a good portion. Okay. My chili spoon. Oh, disappeared. Okay. Oh, there it is. Okay. So you can see that the vegetables are getting soft. There's still a little bit of juice. You could cook it down if you want it. You know, everyone has their own definition of chili, whether you want it saucy, whether you want it dry, good over some brown rice, some cornbread, coleslaw on the side. Yeah, all of that.
Yummy.
So this is a little bit of lime juice. And then I have some more cilantro we can add in. I kind of like that nice bright color.
Well, do you ever puree some of it, like to make it? Sometimes I'll do that.
Yeah.
I get like an immersion blender, and I'll just kind of like blend like half of it and make it like, I don't know, soupy, chunky.
Wow, that's a great idea. No, I have not done that before. I think I would like that.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, it makes it kind of, well, I don't know. I'm going to say heartier, but yeah.
Yeah. Someone's asking if they can use lemon juice.
Yes, yes, you can use lemon juice. You know, again, it's like, what can you find in the store, right?
Or from your tree if you have a lemon tree.
Yeah, wouldn't that be wonderful? Lemon tree. Okay. So here you go, just a sample.
Dish. Wow.
A bowl of chili, a little steam coming off of it.
Yep.
Yeah. So you
Looks
can,
great.
Thank you. You can add some corn in here. Again, you can simmer with just, if you don't want any oil, you can just simmer it in vegetable broth, tomato juice. There's all kinds of ways you can alter this. You don't have to add salts if you don't want to. You know, there's all kinds of ways based on what's going on in your world and your diet that you can adjust these recipes.
Yep. That's the nice part about it too. They're very adjustable. Vivian, I'm going to get back to your question in just a minute, but Dory's asking, does the chili freeze well?
Yes, it's a wonderful dish to freeze.
I've found that too. Yeah, put it in a little serving container, keep it in the freezer, pull it out for your meal prep. Works out great. And then Vivian was asking, not related to the recipes, but what kind of kale is not too bitter, or how do you get rid of the bitterness of kale?
You know, I think it depends upon how young it is and where it's grown. I mean, that's just my experience of some kale, depending upon different parts of the island, you know, who the farmer is, what their soil's like, tends to be more bitter. This one is from Manoa, this Russian flat leaf kale. I find this one's probably the mildest. Sometimes you get those big curly leaves from the mainland, and those can be kind of tough and bitter. Yeah, that's my experience. I think you just got to find your favorite farmer, and just and it's a seasonal thing too. You know, you really have to kind of. I mean, we're just lucky right now to have this.
And I think another tool I use to soften the kale is massaging it. Do you do that too?
Right. Yes, I do. With some salt or some lemon juice. You know, you can massage it, right, and make it more tender. So I don't know if it would change the flavor, the bite of it, but it definitely will soften things a bit.
The texture. Yeah, so I chop it, kind of rinse it, chop it in a bowl, and then get your hands in there with a little bit of the, you know, lemon juice, salt, whatever, massage it for a couple of minutes. Feels kind of weird, but you know, you'll see it shrink in size, and then you can gauge what your texture preference probably.
What are you looking for?
Yeah. Yeah.
So at this point, before actually, I mean, I put it in the bowl for you to see, but you know, I tend to, before I actually finish cooking, I'll taste it just to see, I adjust flavors to taste. It's kind of something I like to type in recipes because, you know, you might want a little more salt, might want a little bit more of a punch of heat, or you might want some more lemon or lime. These are the things you can do at the end, just to kind of, before you are going to go ahead and serve it.
Fantastic. Well, thank you. Any other questions for Chef, you guys? Other questions? All right. Maybe everybody's really hungry. They're like, we're ready to go cook this right now. We got the recipe. We've seen it. Now we're ready to eat it. So,
Oh, yeah. Time for
okay.
dinner.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Chef Alyssa. I'm going to pull up the PowerPoint again on the screen. You guys just cover a few more resources to support you. And then if you do think of any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. We will round back with you on that. But thank you for inspiring us with your cooking today.
Thank you.
Yeah, let me put this. Yeah, yeah, Roberta says she's heading to the kitchen right now. All right. Then we've done our job, right?
Hmm.
Uh, All right, so we got our questions. I'll keep an eye out for that if things come through. We hope that you enjoyed this today, and we hope that you'll come back again because we're offering this once a month on the fourth Monday of the month from 5 to 6 p.m. We will be here. Next month, it'll be June 27th, and Chef will be showing us how to prepare vegetables and marinades. So again, if you're just wondering, hey, what do I do with this zucchini or whatever this vegetable is, right?
Hmm.
And you've got
Right.
a grill or you got an oven, then let's dive into it and see what we can make happen with that. So here are all the dates for the rest of the year. So again, you can catch us every month at this day and time. You can reserve your spot by calling 432-2260. You're not automatically registered for the next class. Is that right, John? So if you only signed up for this one and you want to reserve your spot for next month, make sure you go ahead and do that. I'll let you jump in, John. Did I get that right?
Yeah, you got that right. Yeah, just let us know so we'll add you to all the remaining classes.
Okay. Um, Great. And Alice, I will put the recipe back up in just a minute. And if you are wanting to get some more support in whether that's culinary cooking or whether that's in any of these areas, you know, managing weight, healthy eating, activity, reducing stress, if you're a Kaiser member, we would encourage you to reach out to one of our wellness coaches. We have this awesome program where we can partner you with a coach by phone. They meet with you one-on-one and work with you on setting goals and you know, having that support and that accountability, because sometimes we know what we should be doing. We just need a little bit of support in moving in that direction. So, you know, sessions are typically 15 to 20 minutes. You get 6 free sessions over the phone. If you're interested in checking that out, you got the phone number there. You can also log into kp.org, go under the appointments tab, and you'll see wellness coaching. You can make an appointment that way as well. And lastly, before I head into your other questions here, I want to just highlight that we have a lot of other classes in addition to this one here that you may be interested in exploring. And if you're specifically wanting to learn more about transitioning to a plant-based diet, I would encourage you to check out the classes Viva Veggies. That's taught by one of our registered dietitians, and they'll give you all the you know, why and the how and the starting point for getting you on this journey, keeping you motivated. If you have a specific condition that you're wanting to focus on, such as prediabetes, diabetes, or heart health, again, we've got some specific classes that are dedicated to each of those subjects. And all of our classes are offered virtually right now, hopefully making that accessible to you to just join like you did today in the same Teams format. So you can register for these classes, most of them online on kp.org. Just sign in, go under that appointments tab, and you'll see nutrition classes. Or again, I'll put the phone number in the chat here too, the 808-432 2260 is kind of our main number that you can read. Oh, I typed that in horribly. John, maybe you can type that in so I'm not talking and typing at the same time. Clearly that's not my skill set. But yeah, thank you so much for being here today. And I will jump back here and look at some of these questions before folks have to jump off. Sharon's asking, what does the lime or the lemon do to the chili? How does that
Well,
enhance the flavor?
it gives it a little punch, I guess would be the way I think of it. You know, it just adds some zesty flavor at the end, and it's not required, but it definitely is an added layer at the end before serving. Hopefully
Yeah, I
that
find it kind of
answers.
brightens it up. I think I'd feel it kind of like pulls all those flavors of the vegetables and stuff out and just, I
Thank
don't know,
you.
makes them
Yeah,
taste vibrant.
yeah, you'll see in a lot of beans and lentil recipes where they'll add some sort of, like in Indian dishes, they'll add some lemon juice at the end if you're making like a dal. If you're making like a lentil soup, sometimes they'll add a little bit of apple cider or balsamic vinegar, a little splash at the end to just kind of pop, make the flavors pop. So it is something that you'll see often in bean and lentil recipes.
I encourage you to try it. If it sounds a little foreign to you, give it a try. You might be surprised at how it just kind of pulls the dish together. Eric is asking, if zucchini is added, how does one prevent it from getting mushy?
Ah, yes. So I do it several ways. If it's something where it's going to be cooking a long time, like for this one, to me, it doesn't get like real mushy because this isn't a real long cooking dish. But if I'm doing something like a lentil soup and I'm cooking the lentils and it gets to a high heat, I will either saute it on the side to get it kind of browned and crispy, you know, and then add it in right before serving, or I will add it in towards the end part of cooking so that it doesn't cook, because it doesn't need as much time to cook. I don't know if that helps, but those are the two ways I do it.
So either cooking it separately and add it at the end, or just add it at the end so it's not in the pot as long, getting mushy.
Right, because it's such a, you know, a watery, easy to cook vegetable. I would think probably a lot of people wouldn't want to go to the effort to cook it on the side, but I do like that kind of a difference.
Great questions, you guys. And let's see, Myra's saying, can we use, I think you made tofu not frozen. So I'm guessing, can you add the tofu without freezing it?
Sure.
Yeah, it just changes the texture if you freeze it.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Okay, and then I see Sharon has her hand up. Sharon, did you have a question? I'm not sure if it was up from earlier. So Sharon, if you have a question, don't forget to unmute.
Yes, no, I'm fine. You answered my question.
Okay, great.
I mean, I'm excited because I made something and I'm now going to add the lime or the lemon in there.
Oh, good. Okay.
Good. Yep, just to squeeze, you know, and then taste it, and you can always add more.
Right, right. Start with just a little bit.
Thank you. So excited.
Oh, good.
Yay.
Fantastic. Catherine's saying, and I'm not ever tried tofu waste. I don't know what tofu waste is. Catherine, maybe you have to expand a little bit more. You can come off mute and share with us what you mean by that.
What I noticed that you can buy at the tofu factory, they have the bits and pieces of the tofu, and you can buy it in poundage.
Wait, are you on Oahu?
No, I'm on Maui, but you should be able to drier than the tofu itself. So you know it. My mom cooks it with string beans and puts miso in it and stuff. But they used to carry it in the stores. I don't see it in the stores anymore. Like, you know, the mom and pop stores. But I don't see it in the stores anymore. So you have to go to the tofu factory.
Yeah, there's one place here on Oahu that used to do that, but I don't know since the pandemic if that's still happening. But yeah, those end pieces are nice. I really like cooking with them. Good question. Good point.
Yeah, I didn't even know that that was a thing. So thank you for bringing that up. Yeah, something for people to explore.
Yeah.
Okay, other questions, you guys? We got a couple more minutes. Anything else? All right, raise of hands, you guys. Who's ready to cook? Who's going to go try these recipes? We want to see every hand up. All right, there we go. Okay, then we'll see you next month. You report back and tell us what you thought, right? All right,
Thank you
Chef, I
so
see all the
much.
hands going up, so that's a good sign.
Oh, great. Well, it's a nice, they're both nice, easy recipes. So hopefully that'll inspire you to,
Yeah.
and you make great leftovers. So
Yes, that's what we
happy
love, right?
cooking.
Yeah, it does take a
Yes,
bit of
that's,
chopping, so having leftovers is always, then you cook a big batch and then it's like, I don't have to cook for a couple days. Or maybe you might
right.
even make a double batch and then freeze some, right? I've done that before too.
Yeah,
So
and the flavors are always more, nice
once it's set.
to enhance the next day. Yes.
Yeah. Sharon, did you have something to say?
Oh, it's a great idea, but also the chili left over with some lentils.
Oh, lentils. Putting
Lentil
the chili
pasta.
over. Oh,
Yeah,
the lentil
Oh,
pasta. I love the lentil pasta. Great
yeah,
idea. Yeah, kind of
yeah.
make it a little bit more hearty, stretch it out a little bit, huh?
Yes, yes.
Good idea. Hey, you guys are full of good tips. Okay. Yeah, you're welcome, everybody. So thank you for joining. Hope you're all walking away inspired. We look forward to seeing hopefully all of you back in June. And enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you, Chef Alyssa.
right. Thank you. We're going to explore
Educating us.
kebabs. Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Happy
So
to share.
next month we're doing kebabs. That'll be fun.
Kebabs and marinades and working with mushrooms.
Ooh.
So that'll be a lot of fun. And grilling, just learning how to grill vegetables based on the different kinds of whether they're root vegetables or things like zucchini that cook quickly. We're going to go over all those tips.
Fantastic. Well, it is getting into summer season. I mean, it's nice here year round, but it is kind of technically like more barbecue grilling season. So this will be perfect timing for those get-togethers, you guys. Yeah, bring the veggies, bring the vegetable skewers and the marinated mushrooms or whatever we're going to do.
Yeah, right. Everything we're going to marinate. It'll be fun.
It will be fun. Yeah. Okay, well, thanks again, everybody. Have a great night. You're welcome.
Bye. Hope you enjoy.
Bye-bye.
Hope you enjoy the recipes.